I guess I appreciate when an owner or anybody else is honest, but why would you say this? How does it benefit you if you're Woody Johnson to say this?
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Picks Wednesday where I'm going to give you my pick for every single game. Week 8. It's week 8 already in the NFL, which is just bananas if you think about it. There also is a decent amount of news to get into in terms of guys coming out of retirement, suspensions, and owners saying things you almost never, ever hear an owner say. I'll get to all that a little bit later on in the show. But first, I know why a lot of you are here. You want to hear my picks for every game, so let's do it.
Want to know which team is going to win every single game on Sunday? Then listen up.
All right, Ross, we're going to start with the Minnesota Vikings. They're at the LA Chargers.
This is a tough one. This will be my game this week for Westwood One on the radio, which means I'll be flying to Los Angeles a little bit later today. Looking forward to being back in the booth. Last time I was in that stadium, that Niners-Rams game was awesome. A few weeks ago, I guess that was 3 weeks ago, went into overtime. That was fantastic. I would love if that's the case again for this game between the Vikings and the Chargers. And you know what? It just might. This is a really tough one. Kevin O'Connell did say on Tuesday that Carson Wentz will start, so they're still going to give J.J. McCarthy another 10 days to get that high ankle sprain right. So we'll see what happens after those 10 days. I still believe, like Dr. Chow talks about on Thursday's Even Money Betting podcast, that it's somewhat dependent on how Wentz plays. If Wentz lights it up in this game, I don't think they're benching him. If Wentz struggles, I think it's very likely J.J. McCarthy time in the next game. So I think Carson Wentz, whether anybody else wants to recognize it or not, really does control a bunch of this. For the Chargers, Joe Alt practiced on Tuesday. Trey Pipkins practiced on Tuesday. So those guys have a chance to play. I guess I'll just go with the home team. Thursday night, short week, might be getting guys back healthier. Wentz is still kind of banged up. And honestly, I think it's going to be a fun, close game. And I just trust Justin Herbert more than I do Carson Wentz late. And I think that's all that needs to be said. I think that's a very fine answer. Let's go with some points, though. Let's say 27-26. Go, Chargers, go.
Next up, the Miami Dolphins. They're at the Atlanta Falcons.
I don't know how you pick the Miami Dolphins to win a game at this point. Certainly not against a Falcons bunch that's coming off a really disappointing performance, I thought, in that game against the Niners. You know, every time I'm ready to buy in on the Falcons with this young defense, best they've had since 1978, then you got Bijan Robinson, Drake London. They have a letdown game, and you're just not sure what to expect. I think they come out and probably roll the Dolphins, who look like on some level, certainly in that performance against Cleveland, that they've rolled over. It's looking like the end is near for Mike McDaniel. Let's say Atlanta wins the game 27-13. Atlanta wins going away. Probably a pretty good survivor pool option for those of you that are still in it.
Chicago Bears. They're at the Baltimore Ravens.
This is why I do power rankings on Tuesday. This is why the Even Money Betting podcast is so popular. The 4-2 Chicago Bears are massive underdogs against the 1-5 Baltimore Ravens. It's 6.5 points. Now, we'll see later today if Lamar Jackson practices, because he didn't practice on Monday. But certainly that betting line is with the expectation that he will play. And if he does play, yes, I agree. I think the Ravens win, maybe going away. The Bears have been getting a terrific job taking the football away and winning the turnover battle. And they can win the game if that happens. But I think the Ravens get a major post-bye Lamar Jackson boost and end up pulling away from the Bears late. 27-17 Ravens.
Next up, the Buffalo Bills. They're traveling to Carolina, playing the Panthers.
Well, the Bills have to win this game, right? I mean, they're coming off back-to-back losses. They're coming off a bye. The Panthers have surprised a lot of people, playing better than I think a lot of people thought. But I feel like the Bills, like the Ravens, are going to get that post-bye boost, if you will, and are going to go ahead and take care of business down in Carolina. I just don't picture the Carolina Panthers scoring that many points. How about 27-16? Buffalo wins by 11.
Team we'll be talking a lot about later, the Jets. They're in Cincinnati playing the Bengals.
Yes, we will. It's not official. It sounds like it's going to be Tyrod Taylor. So now you got Tyrod Taylor against Joe Flacco in the year of our Lord 2025 for the Cincinnati Bengals and the New York Jets. What a time to be alive. I mean, Jack, we'll get to tell our kids someday, or in my case, my kids now, that we were alive when Tyrod Taylor and Joe Flacco went head-to-head for the Jets and the Bengals. I mean, if you ask a lot of people on the street, they might not even know that those guys are still in the league, let alone what team they play for, let alone who they're starting for on Sunday. It's amazing. I'm going with the Bengals. Now, Tyrod certainly feels like he gives the Jets a better chance than Justin Fields has been doing, but I'm still not going to pick them to win the game. The Jets are in a bad way. The Bengals should have some momentum after that win and the Thursday night game. Air Flacco. Give me the Bengals. And I think this is a similar score to what I've been putting out there. 27-17. Well, I got 3 of those so far. Chalk up another one, Jackie boy.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't your daughters have been alive for most of Tyrod and Joe Flacco's careers? You're like, I'm going to tell my kids about this, and they've experienced the whole thing.
Yeah, that's why it's funny, Jack. Thank you very much for ruining the joke. That's why it was funny. They're 13 and 12.
49ers are using at the Houston Texans.
All right. So, what's the game?
49ers at Texans.
All right. Yeah, you threw me off with your nonsense. All right. Here we go. Niners. In Mac Jones or Purdy, I trust. In the Niners' leadership, in Kyle Shanahan, in Christian McCaffrey, the machine, and the Texans. The Texans' defense is so good, and I feel so bad for those guys. I don't know. I don't have faith that the Texans will put up very many points, even without Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. I'll say it's a lower scoring game. Pretty similar, actually, to the last Niners game. 20-13 Niners.
Cleveland Browns. They're at the New England Patriots.
Hard to pick against the Patriots right now. I mean, the way they're playing against a team like Cleveland, kudos to Cleveland for having 2 wins. I don't think they're getting a 3rd win here. And how about that? How about the Patriots would be 6-2 after this game, which I think will happen. There's all kinds of crazy Drake May stats out there right now. Maybe the Browns can keep it close. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but how about 23-16 Patriots?
Philadelphia Eagles. They're hosting the New York Giants.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. All right, so, by the way, I will also have a longer prediction on my Ross report on social media, at Ross Tucker NFL, where I talk about the Eagles 3 times a week for a minute or less. I'll be doing that Wednesday, Friday, Sunday this week. I'm going to take the Eagles. I've been impressed with the Giants other than all those turnovers against the Saints, they've been super competitive now for a month. I mean, they are a different team. They are going to be a hard out every week. I do think the Eagles having Quinyon Mitchell and Jalen Carter will be helpful. I think they'll get this done. I wonder how the Giants come out after being so deflated after that loss to the Broncos. I think the Eagles win this game 24-20 Birds.
New Orleans Saints are hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers NFC South battle.
So this is an interesting matchup. This is a juicy one because I think that the Bucs need to be on upset alert. Back-to-back road games. Now they got to play in New Orleans on a short week after, they just kind of got beat up by the Detroit Lions. They lose Mike Evans. This is just not a good spot for the Bucs. That they are on big time upset alert, which is why I really like the Saints with the spread. I guess I can't, in good conscience, pick the Saints to win the game outright against Baker Mayfield with Spencer Rattler, but I think it's close. I think it's 21-20 Bucs. Don't go anywhere. Got to pay some bills real quick. Do you know every single event going on in your area this weekend or next weekend or the weekend after that? You would if you had the Game Time app. I think it's like the best curator of events that I've seen. And then when you actually see an event you like, all of the fees are included. They're not here for those bogus surprise fees at checkout. Plus, you guys know I love the lowest price guarantee and being able to see what the view's like from the seat. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ROSS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem code ROSS for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. It's getting colder out there, which means it's time to drink more beer. Specifically, Labatt or Labatt Blue Light. Absolutely delicious. Hopefully you guys saw on social media at Ross Tucker NFL, I did that taste test recently. Rewards.labattusa.com is where it's at. Buy beer, get gear, the mini fridge amazing, the backpack cooler life-changing. Rewards.labattusa.com.
Next up, Dallas Cowboys are at the Denver Broncos.
How about them Cowboys? So the Cowboys, they have been awesome right now. Is this the featured game, I think, Jack?
I feel like it has to be. I mean, I don't know what else would really take
I'm
its
looking at
spot there.
CBS's featured game. I don't have a TV game Sunday, by the way. There's still a bunch of buys, so I do not have a TV game. But this should be the featured, it looks like, CBS game at 425, Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. This is a good one. You got that Broncos defense, which is terrific, although the Giants, Jackson Dart, kind of just lit them up a little bit, going against Dak Prescott. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, Jack. Dak Prescott has the highest odds for being MVP of any guy that's the quarterback of a 3-3-1 team. Mainly because there probably haven't been that many 3-3-1 teams ever. And if they were 3-3-1, their quarterback probably wasn't playing as well as Dak Prescott is. Let's hope it's like the Giants-Broncos game. Let's hope it's a back and forth, awesome affair. Should be really fun to watch. I'm going to go with the Broncos. I don't know that I feel great about it. I feel like there's some karma there, and they kind of just won the game that that they probably weren't supposed to win the way it unfolded. But I think it'll be somewhat similar. I think the Cowboys have been able to move the ball on everybody the entire year. It's been phenomenally impressive. So I'll go Broncos just because the Cowboys defense is that bad. Let's have some fun. Let's say it's 30-27 Bo Nix gets it done late again, but that's another one where I have more faith in Dak than Bo late, so wouldn't be surprised at all. Broncos better be on upset alert again.
Pretty boring matchup, but not for the reasons we're really used to in the past. Titans at Colts.
That's a good point. Well, the Colts, these is number 1 against number 31 in my power rankings that you can check out every Tuesday, either the audio version for those of you that listen to it, or youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL for those of you that like to watch. Either way, go ahead and make sure not only are you subscribed, but the notifications are turned on so you can listen or watch exactly when they get posted. I know a lot of you enjoy that, and that's a big win for you. I'll go Colts for all the obvious reasons. I have no reason to believe this game will be close. I mean, maybe the Titans can formulate something, but if Jeffrey Simmons doesn't play, feels like he's by far their best player and best defensive players. I don't know how they really slow down the Colts if that's the case. Maybe the Titans can score some points because the Colts defense hasn't been that great. But this is a rematch of the game I did, I think, in week 3 where the Colts pulled away. So let's pick that to happen again. Colts 31-13 over the Tennessee Titans.
Pittsburgh Steelers are hosting the Green Bay Packers.
That's a cool matchup. Packers Steelers is like, that one gets you fired up. And that is Sunday night football. So a good one for Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth. I thought that Steve Fezzik made a pretty good point on the Even Money betting podcast where he said everybody talks about the Packers like they're a top 5 team, but he's not seeing it. And based on what in recent weeks are they a top 5 team? I think he's kind of right. I mean, what have they done to say they're a top 5 team? They're not top 5 in my power ratings because they haven't really played that well. Now, this would be a pretty impressive win. So if they go on the road and can beat a pretty darn good Steelers team, then maybe we can start to have that conversation about Green Bay a little bit more. I have to think that the Steelers play better on defense than they did last Thursday night. I mean, that it would be hard for them to play worse. This isn't a good spot for Green Bay. They were just on Sunday in Arizona. Now they got to play on the road again, whereas the Steelers, extra time to rest, extra time to prepare for this one. And it's Rodgers' chance to be one of not many guys that have beaten all 32 NFL teams. He has a chance to beat the Green Bay Packers. I think he does it. I think the Steelers win this one at home. I think they bounce back. These are the type of games that Tomlin bounces back in always. 24-23, the Steelers get it done on Sunday Night Football.
And we'll wrap the games up with the Washington Commanders at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, it does not appear as if Jaden Daniels is going to play, although we'll see if he practices today or the next couple of days. And as I think I said either Monday or Tuesday, Dorrance Armstrong was their best edge rusher, and he's lost for the season. So this has just been a bad year for the Commanders so far with the injuries. They're already 3-4, which I guess doesn't sound that bad if the Chiefs are only 4-3, but it just does not feel like it doesn't feel like this season is going to be what people were hoping it could be for the Commanders, unfortunately. And I certainly don't expect them to get this win with Mariota. Although, didn't Mariota go to Kansas City and win a playoff game with the Titans one time? Do you remember that, Jack?
Was that the game where he threw the touchdown pass to himself?
Yes. They won that game, right?
It was very close. I don't know if I will fact check that in real time.
Yeah, fact check it while I'm giving the score.
They did. 2018, 22-21 beat the Chiefs.
2018? So that was maybe the year before Mahomes.
Yeah, that would probably have been Alex Smith.
That was the last Alex Smith year. I think it was Vrabel coaching them That's wild to even think about. Well, I don't think Mario is going to go down Arrowhead and win again. I think the Chiefs are awesome. I don't know if we posted the social clip yet from Fezzik saying that he thinks the Chiefs are 2.5 points better than any other team. Give me the Chiefs by a lot. I think the Chiefs win. I'll say 30-17. I'll give Mariota some credit. 30-17. The Chiefs find a way to get it done. More great stuff right after this. The smells, the rituals, the noise, the passion. Game day is an experience unlike any other. And whether you're tailgating, hosting, or just watching with your crew, choose Smirnoff, because no game day is complete without the world's #1 vodka. It's the perfect vodka for crafting delicious cocktails that are easy to make and versatile for any and all fans over 21. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. I know how a lot of you guys are. You're like me. Most of the time, you know you should do something or at least look into it, but you just don't, quote unquote, feel like it, or you just don't have time. I can't make this any easier for you. Go to westshorehome.com/Ross. Check out all the projects I've had done at my house. Then schedule a time for a free estimate. What do you have to lose? At least then you know what it would cost to get new windows or new doors or a new bathroom or just a new shower like I just got in my detached garage where my studio is. I mean, listen, I can already tell you, well worth it. Well worth it. I said to my buddy who owns westshorehome.com, I said, dude, now I see why so many people do this. Now I see why you have 60,000 5-star reviews. Free installation on all projects, plus save an extra $500 now by scheduling at westshorehome.com/Ross, and you will be the winner this week. You schedule the free estimate, you're the winner. I'll do a video for you, send you an autograph, whatever you want. westshorehome.com/Ross. See website for details.
Tuck's Takes.
Got some news around the league, Ross. We're going to start with edge rusher Brandon Graham. He is back with the Eagles for a 16th season.
That is wild. Age 37. I'm happy for him if this is what he wants. You know, he's just the greatest guy, and anybody that's ever been around him will tell you that. Perma smile. I mean, he's got a permanent smile. He's always happy. You know, I think that he will add as much in the locker room as he will on the field. Just that positivity, that spirit, that energy. Already played Eagles season, franchise record 15 seasons. Now it's 16 seasons. And as I talked about with those guys that have retired lately, Jack, he's going to get another season for all of his benefits. Health savings account and annuity, 401k, pension, insurance. That adds up, man. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars in addition to whatever his salary is, which I'll be curious about. We'll be interested to see how many snaps he gets, because there's still some talk that the Eagles could trade for another edge rusher. They will get Nolan Smith back at some point. So it's a little bit, it's interesting to see how much he's making and how much he actually plays. But I think the Eagles realize, hey, we're a better team with him than without him.
Jets owner Woody Johnson, he made some disparaging remarks about Justin Fields in an attempt to defend Aaron Glenn, the head coach. The Jets, they're looking poised to make a change at QB.
So I'm going to make this my Labatt take of the week because I definitely have something to say about it. Brought to you by my friends at Labatt. With Labatt, you can buy beer, get gear, go to their website, snap a photo of your receipt, and upload to gain points towards exclusive merch. Any size, any product, anywhere you're buying Labatt, sign up at rewards.labattusa.com. I guess I appreciate when an owner or anybody else is honest, but why would you say this? How does it benefit you if you're Woody Johnson to say this? I mean, first of all, it makes your new general manager, who you hired, Darren Muji, not look good at all, because he's the one that gave Justin Fields $30 million guaranteed, including $10 million next year. So that's a bad look. It's not anything you'd ever want to say to pump up or support your starting quarterback, who looks like he's going to get benched. But what if the Jets even wanted to trade him? I mean, maybe they're putting this out there so that they can trade him. I think he was trying to defend Aaron Glenn, which I can appreciate, but I don't know. I mean, the Jets have been arguably the worst team in the NFL over the last 10, 15 years, and I do think a lot of times the performance of franchises is probably more related to ownership than people recognize, because those are the guys at the top making all of the decisions.
The Saints, they lose both center Eric McCoy and running back Kendre Miller to season-ending injuries.
Boy, that's rough. I mean, that is really, really rough. First of all, McCoy is their best offensive lineman. And he's the center, so he's the guy directing everything. I think he has a torn bicep after 7 games. I think he only played in 7 games last year and tore a pec or something. That is just brutal. I don't think people realize, like, you're doing lifelong damage to your body. The rehab process is so annoying and frustrating and grueling, and this is not good. This is actually probably why I should not have taken the Saints plus the 5.5 for 2 units on the Even Money Betting podcast, because that's a big loss, losing McCoy. And you know what? Kendre Miller has looked good this year. He tore his ACL, but he's been the number 2 running back for the Saints, and he's done some really positive things. So those are 2 major losses for the New Orleans Saints.
Broncos linebacker Dre Greenlaw, he's suspended for a game after his post-game altercation with referee Brad Allen.
I don't think we talked about this the last couple of days. Why would you do that? The guy just came back for 1 game, chases down the ref. I think it's hilarious that Brad Allen threw the flag. The game was over. I don't know what the flag's being thrown for. The game was over. But for Greenlaw, I mean, that was your first game. You won the game. And now you're suspended for a big game against the Cowboys? Just some of these guys lose their head. I love the way Greenlaw plays, but you just cannot make decisions like that.
And the Titans, they released wide receiver Tyler Lockett per his requests.
You know, I respect all of that. Tyler Lockett, first of all, wasn't even getting the ball very much. Secondly, at this stage of his career, you know, he wants to be with a contender. And quite frankly, the Titans, they want to play their young guys, Chimere DK and Alec Ayamaner anyway. They don't really want to play Tyler Lockett anyway. So it's a win-win-win for everybody for Tyler Lockett to be released. I guess I'm a little bit surprised. Maybe the Titans did try to trade him and nobody would give up anything for Tyler Lockett at this stage of his career. I guess that's possible. But yeah, I respect the Titans for doing it. I respect those of you, by the way, that go the extra mile. Can't tell you how much we appreciate when you spread the word via social media, at Ross Tucker NFL, at Ross Tucker Pod. Just a comment or a reply, or especially a quote post, or just a post in general where you tag at Ross Tucker Pod, at Ross Tucker NFL, talking about how much you like the shows, or just interact with any of our show posts. Love those of you who take advantage of any of our sponsors, especially the Game Time app, code Ross, or westshorehome.com/Ross. Those are 2 of my faves. And then the YouTube shout out, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Subscribe, make a comment. You could be the video winner. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. You know I love it. Backofficescheduler.com. HumanHeadNYC.com. Sporticulture. Pizza Boy Brewing.